Hello, my name's Bennett from Dynamat. We're the European distributor for Dynamat. One of the projects I've been working on for the last year is developing the UK restoration market. I'm here today with Roy from Mustang Workshops. Roy I've been working with on a few projects with Dynamat, and today we'd like to talk to you about a couple of exciting things that we've done. We've got what Mustang's this over here, Roy?
It's 69.
Okay, and the other one that's next to it?
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same car.
Exactly the same. Both Mac ones.
And they're both cars that you've restored and for clients and all those kind of things, right?
Both of them over the years we've done progressive upgrades.
Yep.
Maintained both of them.
And this particular client with this vehicle here, I know he's excited about picking up the car at the weekend. He's been chomping at the bit. He lives down in the south of France, is that correct?
He has a place down in the south of France. He's actually based in London. He's a barrister by trade, but his passion is American muscle cars.
Brilliant. And what was really the brief from him? To build a great cool car,
his ethos in it is he wants to take it down and leave it in the south of France. So he brought it in on this occasion to initially just to have an AC system installed as a retrofit because of the heat in south of France, which is acceptable, and to freshen up the interior.
Okay.
Upon that, we then discussed the options of doing sound insulation and heat proofing, just to give him the benefit for the car, which he agreed to, which decided to make this one a special Dynamat project.
Fantastic. Well, just to explain to everybody that Dynamat do two products. The first one is sound deadening, and the second set of products will be called Dynaliner, is our heat proofing product. The combination of the two in the vehicle is that I'm sure everybody can relate to this, and Roy, when I first spoke to Roy, is that when you restore any old vehicle, particularly an American muscle car, when you restore it, it looks great. You do some great work here, Roy. They look great, they run great, but they still feel like and with some of your clients that you've had, if you could get that more refined feel, that more sort of feel of luxury, a quieter feel inside the vehicle and a cooler environment, that only makes the driving experience more pleasurable for your clients, correct?
Without doubt.
So in this vehicle, you just to be clear, you dynamated the floor, the firewall, the roof, the whole thing had been fully dynamated all the way through with the sound deadening side. And then you approached as underlay for the carpet, you put the Dynaliner up on the firewall to prevent the transmission of heat. And the other big one, which I know one of your trimmers was nervous about, that we put Dynaliner on the roof to present, obviously, your client in the south of France. It gets even hot in the great summer we've had this year, and that prevents the transmission of heat through the roof. Today, for the purpose of the demonstration, one thing that I've always wanted to do, and Roy himself, is that we know the benefits of Dynamat, but we really want to share with you the difference that you have between two cars. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these two vehicles out on the road. We're going to have a quick blast down the M3, and we're going to hold it at certain speeds and hopefully be able to show you on an SPL meter the difference in noise levels within the vehicle. And then Roy and I will probably have a little chat later on towards the end of the video. Is that okay, Roy?
Sounds good.
So we're going to have some fun now, and Bear, if you'd like to cut there, and we'll come back in the car. Okay, so here we are at 112 dB, somewhere around there, travelling, Roy, I believe at around about 70 mile an hour.
70 mile an hour, spot on,
Just do us a favour and just give it a gentle acceleration up a little bit, if you would. Let the meter regulate, but it's kind of holding somewhere around about 112 to 111 dB at those speeds. So Roy, what we're going to do for the purpose of this video now is that I'm just going to talk to you for a little bit. Kind of feeling in here now, this is what I'd expect of a Mustang. Obviously for you,
this is right about normal for a Mustang,
and we're, I would say, the way we're talking to one another now, we're starting to raise our voices quite a bit to try and overcome that sort of drone that we've got here, which is the characteristic within the car. I believe that you've driven these for many miles, and I think that one of the things that we can all relate to is that the longer you sort of drive with this this feeling of noise in a vehicle, it can become quite fatiguing. Would you agree?
It can indeed.
Yeah.
To some people that's just music to their ears, and others it's a pain worse than death. So
yeah, absolutely.
There's a fine line between the two, but
sure.
The more performance exhaust you have, the more performance engines you have, the louder it gets.
The increased performance as well can obviously increase vibration, harshness, all of those kind of things within the vehicle. You'd expect that.
Without doubt, yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, basically what we're going to do is we're going to come off at this junction now, and we're going to, the next take will be in the fully dynamated restored vehicle that Roy at Mustang Workshop's done. So we're going to take a cut there, and we'll come back and have another conversation as to what we feel that the car feels like when it's driving and so forth. Thank you, Roy. Okay, so here we are, around about 104 dB, floating between 104 and 106, whereas before we were somewhere up around about 112, 111 decibels. We're now driving the car, and one of the things that Roy and I have just spoken about, just to be clear, Roy, we're holding it around about 70 miles an hour,
yes,
where we were before. This thing that I'm using here is a audio control spectrum analyzer. It's a very accurate real-time analyzer, so it measures all the frequencies between 20 Hertz and 20k, and you can see quite clearly there is a significant drop in the dB reading in this vehicle. Roy, I decided to ask you a question in terms of, with us having a conversation now. Can you hear me all right?
It's a very pleasant and nice place to be.
Okay.
There is no drone. You can hear each other nice and clearly. We're not having to shout. It's just a really nice, cool place to be.
And how do you feel the car feels? What's your impressions? I mean, you've done a lot of these Mustangs. How do you feel it feels?
It feels tighter
to drive.
It's tighter to drive. It's
more solid.
Definitely more solid. It's just a complete transformation to an original stock interior. There you hear the drone. You have every single rattle from the car.
Yep.
All we can hear is the wind noise. Which I'm impressed. I really am impressed. It's a really nice place to be. If I was going to do a long journey, I think the end result would be a real pleasant, unstressed drive at the end. It's just transformed. Yeah, I'd highly recommend it.
Great. Well, that's well. Thank you for the plug, Roy. I think the big thing for all of us is that in the automotive industry, Roy, we've always heard of the next best thing, and proof is in the eating. At the end of the day, I'm an engineer just like you, and I've always stood behind how effective and efficient the Dynamat products are and how they transform a vehicle, all the things that you've said, and we've installed it in millions of cars all over the world. I think the one thing that's quite important with a Mustang owner is they don't want the characteristic of they've still got a muscle car, and just listening to the exhaust in here, my initial impressions are it actually sounds more tuned, more refined. You can still feel that you've got that that kind of Mustang characteristics that when you open up the throttles, but the exhaust actually, for me, sounds better tuned in here than it did in the previous vehicle. It's just a nicer, more comfortable environment to be in, and you can really enjoy the car. And at the end of the day, ultimately, the designer of Dynamat is a car restorer himself, just like you, Roy. And one of the main reasons that the brand was introduced into the market 25 years ago was to help all of us build a better car. And I certainly hope for the brand, for Mustang Workshops, from what you've said, that you feel that this is a great upgrade that you could add to any restoration that you would do, and it helps you to just build a more professional, better car overall.
I'd go along with that. We've been restoring Mustangs and classic cars for 15-20 years, and we've used other brands that are on the marketplace. As they're released, you try them, and you...
Soundproofing brands, you mean, right?
Soundproofing brands, yeah, in relation to this particular test.
Okay.
And the previous brand that we were using result, as proven with this, the cost difference between the Dynamat and the previous product bears no relation to the end result that it actually produces to the car. With the 3 combined Dynamat products that we put into this particular Mustang, far outweighs any additional cost that's involved, and the end result is just transformed.
Fantastic. Well, that's great, Roy. I really appreciate all the work you've done in here, and just to remind everybody that the Dynamat is the sound deadening, the soundproofing. We've also heat-proofed this vehicle. We're not able to do a test on that from a heat standpoint, but again, what I can say is that in most cases the Dynaliner with the Dynamat that's put in this vehicle, you'll get about a 70% reduction of thermal transfer of heat from the engine through the firewall, and also the Dynaliner that we've put on the roof. The Dyna deck that's in the boot we'll show you shortly. That's also a floor covering, a nice versatile floor covering. And it's kind of 3 products in one, really. It cuts down noise as well as heat, and also is a really nice covering for the boot, and we'll show you that before we complete the video. So thanks for the test drive, Roy. Thanks for building a great car, and I'm sure your client will be extremely happy and enjoy the driving experience in another fantastic restoration that Mustang Workshops have done. Thank you, Roy. Okay, so we're now back from the test drive. I just wanted to explain a little bit about the science between what you've just seen. The decibel differences, we were around about 111, 112 dB, and as you saw on the video in this Dynamated Mustang, we were probably averaging around somewhere between 104 to 106 dB at equivalent speed. I think the thing to point out with that is that a 3 dB increase or decrease, to gain 3 dB, you would need twice the output. But to our ears, somewhere between 6 and 9 dB when we're listening to it is about the difference between being twice as loud on your volume control of your stereo. So effectively, this vehicle and the driving experience, although it's taken out all of the ring and the noise, there is still other noise within the vehicle, like wind noise, those kind of things, but it's a significant difference in the noise floor within the vehicle when you're driving along, and that's something we tend to normally expect when a car's been dynamated. It's a dramatic difference, so a 6 dB difference when driving at the same speed is a huge difference to our ears in the way we perceive the road noise. I think another way to explain that to everybody is it doesn't matter what car you have. This car just has a nice little stereo in it, your normal everyday runner. I think we can all relate to it, is that when you drive down the motorway listening to your stereo for an hour, you come off the motorway, and most people, when they ask them what do you tend to do to your stereo, what's the first thing you do to it when you come off the motorway, most people say is they turn it down. And the reason for that is that the road noise is gone now, and it actually sounds awful because you tried to turn your stereo up to overcome the road noise. And I know that this customer, when he listens to his stereo in here, he won't have to touch the volume control at all, because he hasn't got that immense amount of road noise that was in the previous car that we took out. So that's the science behind Dynamat. We're going to now set the camera up and talk about some of the products that were fitted in the vehicle as well. Thank you. Okay, so we're back from the test drives now that we've done. Just wanted to sort of briefly explain to you the products that we've used in the car. Firstly, we're in the boot area, obviously, or the trunk. We've got a product down here called Dynadeck. Dynadeck is a versatile floor covering that completely replaces carpet. Looks really cool. I mean, the work that Bear and Roy have done to install the Dynadeck in here, it looks absolutely stunning. But the performance benefit, apart from the look, is that again it prevents the transfer of heat. It's very hard wearing. It's a great sound insulator as well at the same time. And just to show you the product, it's got the Dynaliner in here, which is our closed cell foam, doesn't absorb any water or oil. The very nice, beautiful looking, hard wearing surface that looks stunning in this boot here. And basically this put in. The fuel tanks in these can resonate a lot. There's some Dynamat on there. Still got some of the initial exhaust noise that can resonate through the trunk area into the car, and this does a great job of deadening it down and giving that exhaust that real tight, still sporty sound, but without all that drone that Roy was talking about earlier. This is the Dynamat product that Roy and Bear have put in the vehicle. It's a simple peel and stick application. I will stress that there are other things out there that Roy's mentioned. We tend to call them copymat brands. A lot of them are kind of weatherproofing products. They have bitumen and asphalt in them. The probably a couple of main issues with those is they add a lot more weight to the vehicle. You need to put a lot more of it in to have a similar effect, sometimes 3-4 times more the amount to have the same deadening effect that Dynamat has. And the other thing as well is that all the Dynamat products, I do stress, outlast the lifetime of any restoration. And that's, I think, very comforting to know that once it's down, it'll never come off again, and it won't erode or go brittle or crack over a period of time over the years. The other couple of products in the rear area over the seats, because the mufflers here in this vehicle create that drone, we've got a thing called Dynadeck. It's got Dynil in it, it's very dense, and that's a great way of blocking the transfer of noise from one panel to another. Again, that's just a simple spray glue application up over the rear seat area. And the Dynil liner, the thermal insulating product, we've got the 1/2-inch Dynil liner here. It's crush and tear resistant, and again, I do point out, doesn't absorb water or oil. It's a simple peel and stick application, and again, so much so I've never ever had this stuff come off. And I can say confidently, and we did get some pushback from Roy's trimmer, that if you put anything up on the roof, if it did come down, obviously that means the whole roof lining down. And I've never had, over 25 years of working with Dynamat, any of the products to fall off over a period of time. So just to complete the video, I'm going to bring Roy back in. So we just quickly detach the camera here. And where's Roy? There he is. So Roy, that was a great little experiment, and I hope it's come across well on the video, which I'm sure it has. I'd like to thank you personally for all the great work that you've done. Any other final passing comments, Roy, that you'd like to mention?
Just on the engineering side of it, as us as restorers, the actual fitment into the vehicle was very easy. The only time difference is how nice you do the job.
Yep.
Anybody can cut and slap. We make a nice, really tidy job and cover every nook and cranny, and I think the final result speaks for itself.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that, Roy, and that is really with the traditions here of Mustang Workshops. The first time I met Roy and the team down here, I was really impressed with their attention to detail and the work they do. So for any of you guys that are thinking about getting a Mustang restored, I'd highly recommend you get down to these guys here, just off the Hook Odium junction on the M3. You can check Roy's site out on www.mustangworkshops.co.uk.
That's it.
For any more information on the Dynamat products, it's www.dynamat.co.uk. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing some more Dynamat restorations with Roy in the future. Thank you, Roy.
My pleasure.